And good evening, everybody, from the KXAN Live studios. I'm Billy Gates, and this is Nick's First Warning. And we've got quite an interesting topic for you today. Here we'll bring in meteorologist Nick Bannon. And Nick, we're talking about the eclipse forecast. That's got to be top of mind here about a week out from the big day, total solar eclipse across central Texas. Obviously, forecasting a week out for this short of time period is a bit tough. So, what's it looking like right now?
You know, it also happens to be my birthday on the eclipse, so I've got a lot riding on this day, and it's something that we've discussed in the weather department here.
That's basketball.
That's basketball, yes, but it's something we've discussed in the weather department for the last several months. Is just how important a forecast it is. And also how challenging of a forecast it is too, because really the window of totality maxes out at about 4.5 minutes or so here in Central Texas. So it's that time that we're looking at specifically to will it be clear, will it not be? Remember where the path of totality is. It stretches all through Texas and then well into New England as well. So we're not the only ones affected. But for the purposes of our blog that's on KXAN.com right now, as well as our discussion today, we'll be focusing on the Central Texas portion. For those of you flying in from other parts of the world or the country, our 15 counties here centered around Austin are what our focus will be. But you can see where the path of totality is, which means if you're between the two red lines, then you would see the moon completely blocking the sun, and the sky would go dark for anywhere from about a minute to 4.5 minutes or so. And then as we zoom in more closely here, just about all of the hill country gets totality, most of the metro, and barely any of our eastern counties, except for a little bit of Milam County getting in on totality. And then, of course, you have the center line. The closer to that center line, the longer you will be able to experience totality for. That's why that center line is so important, and areas near that center line, generally in that 4 minute to 4.5 minutes of totality there on April 8th. Around 1:30 to 1:40 is the time frame that we're looking at. Before we get to the forecast for April 8th, I just want to show you what a variety of weather we can get on April 8th. This is what the cloud cover has looked like for the last 10 April 8ths in Austin. Last year was completely cloudy. The year before that was completely sunny. And then we've had a variety of other cloud cover mixtures of sun and clouds. About 4 of the last 10 years have had more sun than clouds. That means about 6 of the last 10 years have had more clouds than sun. But while the weather for the day may matter, of course, it's the weather for those 3 hours of partial eclipse from about noon to 3, or those 5 minutes almost of totality that matter the most, which makes the forecast, yes, more specific, but more challenging. We could say a mix of sun and clouds, but if you have one big cloud that covers the sun for those 4.5 minutes of totality in some areas, then it doesn't matter what happened the rest of the day, Billy. So we'll get into the models here in a second.
Yeah, and I can't imagine having this type of job and so much riding on a day that so many people have looked forward to.
Yeah.
For since the last total eclipse there in 2017, which I got to experience up in Oregon, it was amazing. But also how much money people have sunk into traveling, booking hotels, booking Airbnbs, like doing all the things they had to do, booking flights, doing all the things they had to do if they're not from the area to get up here, and then to have one cloud just completely, sour everything. Yeah. That's got to be a pretty uneasy feeling trying to put together some kind of forecast, especially, a week out.
Yeah, and we're going to be as honest as we can be here going through this over the course of the coming days with uncertainty, with the reliability of computer models, which have really improved a lot over the last decade, over the last several years, in fact, but they're still not perfect to the point of saying that for these few minutes, the sky will be clear here, but not here. So let's get into it. This is what the American computer model is pointing toward for next Monday, April 8th at 2 p.m. Remember, most of the action happens shortly after 1:30 on Monday, so here's 2, and it paints a broad picture of a lot of clouds throughout Texas and decent rain chances as well. You can see here I put the path of totality as well as the center line on the maps here, so you can get a general idea what the cloud cover looks like. And I'll be honest, it is not a favorable outcome anywhere in Texas from this particular computer model's vantage point. This is the American computer model. We look at many models and many iterations even of the same model, where that same model undergoes a little tweak and then gets run again. Those are called ensembles, and I've got a little bit of more of an explanation of that and some more graphics of that on kxan.com. This is the European computer model for the same time, 2 o'clock next Wednesday. It's almost rare, Billy, if I'm honest, to get such agreement among 2 different computer models for 8 days out or 7.5 days out. But a similar idea, a lot of clouds and some rain chances for that 2 o'clock time period here. We've looked at some of the other computer models behind the scenes about just cloud cover alone. And we picked, hey, and what's the chances of more than 50% cloud cover in the sky, let's say, during the afternoon of that Monday? And 2 different models are suggesting a 90% chance or higher of at least half of the sky having clouds, which this far out is amazing to think about the agreement. This also means, though, this far out, 7.5 days out, things can change. But there's just a lot of signs pointing to not ideal conditions, including the National Weather Service's own Climate Prediction Center. We know them from, they do the monthly model forecast, not model forecast, just outlooks. They do the seasonal, say 3-month outlooks, and they update these extended forecasts frequently. We're now in that 6 to 10 day out period from April 8th. So that falls in their 6 to 10 day rainfall outlook forecast, which is April 6th through the 10th. And we're leaning wetter than normal here through the entire state of Texas. Go figure. We've been wanting rain for the longest time. We've been wanting a good wet period for the longest time. Yeah. But during the window of the eclipse, at least the way things look for now, and I can't stress enough, we want you to keep coming back to check out the forecast because things change. But the way things look for now, it's looking wetter and cloudier.
Right, and that's the thing, that we really want to stress is that, we all know what Central Texas weather is like. Sometimes it changes within, minutes or hours.
And you can get rain on the same day that you get sunshine.
Yeah.
And, we're hoping that things align to the point that we can get some sunny breaks in the afternoon. So this brings me, Billy, to our official first forecast for the eclipse. And this is what we're looking at here. We're going to go with the eclipse forecast for Monday, April 8th, as a mostly cloudy one and a 30% chance of rain and storms on the day. So 7.5 days from now, winds out of the south-southeast, 5 to 15 miles per hour. So this is not saying completely cloudy. This is also not saying a washout the entire day. And part of our rain chances, we factor in how much can change over the 7.5 days that we'll be updating the forecast in. I'll tell you, though, that some of our higher quality, longer range forecasts are going with higher rain chances than this. But at least for now, this seems like a good starting point. I want to walk through the process of how we're going to be forecasting the eclipse because I don't want you changing plans yet. I don't want you getting out of Texas just yet for this forecast. Or canceling flights if you're watching us from elsewhere. So from now through this coming Friday, what we feel comfortable sharing are the daytime cloud cover forecasts, like I just showed you, as well as the rain chances for the day. We will have a much tougher time getting more specific than that for the afternoon cloud cover, the afternoon rain chances. We can hint at some things here and there, but it will be tougher getting more specific than that. We think that around next weekend, next Saturday, Sunday, April 6th and 7th, we will be more comfortable sharing the hourly forecast, the chances of cloud cover at noon, 1, 2, and then, of course, things wrapping up before 3 for here in Central Texas, and also the rain chances during the hourly periods. And then as we get almost right on top of April 8th, we will, of course, have our best look at totality, which is that less than 5-minute window that some parts of Central Texas will be able to experience a total solar eclipse. So this is how we will be updating the forecast here through the week. We're going to be updating the blog on kxan.com twice a day, morning and evening. And then on the day of April 8th, that Monday, we'll update the forecast depending on just how uncertain things are. If it's very uncertain, we'll update it every hour. If it's a lock for clouds or a lock for sun, it might not require more updates. But the morning of April 8th, we'll be frequently on top of that thing, just in case people who are trying to remain mobile on the day of the eclipse want to take a dart toward some opening in the clouds where we're seeing some breaks of sun, which is certainly a possibility then too, Billy.
I mean, what a time to be a meteorologist in Central Texas, right?
Yeah, we enjoy the challenge though, but you know it comes with some pulled hair and some nail biting. But you know, we hope that things work out for the best and we can get just enough sunshine during that less than 5-minute period on April 8th to get a great view of the eclipse. Now, this is separate to the forecast, but I did pull in some numbers just on bigger cities here in Central Texas and how long they're going to experience totality. So let's start in the Hill Country first. Again, the bigger cities anyway. Fredericksburg with the most out of those bigger cities in the Hill Country. 4 minutes, 23.8 seconds of totality. The city of Llano within Llano County, 4 minutes and 22.5 seconds just about. Burnett at 4 minutes, 20 seconds. Johnson City just under 4 minutes at 3 minutes, 58. And in Mason, the city of Mason within Mason County, just over 3 minutes and 45 seconds. You know what I think was really interesting, Billy, as I was putting these numbers together, and some people may already be aware of this because we have had the map up on kxan.com for a long time now. The map with little dots on it where you can click on the city or town of your choosing and see how long the totality is.
Yes.
Georgetown actually has a longer period in totality than Dripping Springs does. Georgetown at 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Dripping Springs there at 2 minutes and 58 seconds. And actually parts of western Williamson County very close to challenging parts of our eastern hill country for the amount of totality. Why I show you this is, and you can see there Austin at 1 minute and 40 seconds, is that depending on where the clouds set up, if there are indeed clouds on April 8th, while many of you are planning to head west, and we certainly wouldn't discourage you from doing so, that is where the center line is, you could also increase your amount of totality by heading north as well, even up 35 should traffic not be a problem. So, you know, all these are factors to bear in mind as we continue to update the forecast this week, that moving southwest, west, or north could be an option for you depending on where the thickest of cloud cover is on the day of the eclipse. And we'll be updating this blog all week long as if our lives depended on it.
Yeah, very optimistic of you to assume there's not going to be traffic on 35.
Not on Eclipse Day.
That's awfully nice of you to do that to 35. But like you were saying, the First Warning Weather team will be updating this blog constantly to give everybody the most up-to-date information, try to get people the info they want so they can observe this, literally once in a lifetime event. I was lucky enough. I was living in Oregon at the time to see the one in 2017, and I wasn't in direct totality, but I was close enough that it was dark for 2.5-3 minutes or so, and it was really, really neat.
It is
for sure.
I imagine a cool experience. I've only ever experienced a partial myself, so I'm really looking forward to this weather dependent.
Yes, hopefully there's if it is cloudy, hopefully there's enough breaks that's going to allow folks to get out their Eclipse glasses and enjoy the show. And as always, stay with KXAN.com. Stay with us on broadcast for literal up to the minute forecast information about the weather here on April 8th. As we get closer, the forecast is going to get a lot more accurate. So like we've been saying, it is a week out, so a little more than a week out actually. So, once we hit that classic sort of like 3-day mark, right? Like that's typically when you're going to get the most accurate sort of weather forecast, just in sort of any situation, right?
Sure. I mean, and it will get even more accurate than that day of. But the reason we talk about the 3 days out is that's when our higher resolution models start to get into view, because those go out about 72 hours or so at most. So, yeah, we get in that view there of being able to get a better idea about the cloud cover and the rain coverage and that sort of thing when those higher resolution models kick in. But you are going to start seeing the solar eclipse day, April 8th, showing up on our 7-day forecast later in the day tomorrow. So we wanted to get you a little ahead of it here on a Sunday evening, give you an idea what we're looking at right now. And, of course, we'll keep you updated. And hopefully things change for the drier, brighter, and better.
Yes. Stay with us, KXN.com, KXN over the air, and we'll get you the information you need. And until then, we're going to call this one good for now, this episode of Nick's First Warning. So for Nick Bannon, I'm Billy Gates. Thank you so much for watching us, and we will talk to you again very soon.